Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as always, wherever you're tuning in from on this wonderful, wonderful planet of ours, wherever time of day or night it is, you're all very welcome to the Daily Grizz, your daily roundup show of all things football. Uh, Guys and ladies and gentlemen, please, like the stream on your way in. I know I'm keep changing the time of the shows, but hopefully we'll get you all in here, and hopefully there won't be many more roundup shows because the Premier League kicks off in, I believe, 12, 13 days, something like that. So it's literally around the corner. Um, of course, a few of the regulars are already in here. Yeah, if you're looking forward to Love Island, my brother, I worry about you. I worry about you. Um, Wow, it's 2:03 in Malaysia. I love the dedication, people. I love the dedication. Of course, Ahmed, if I remember, you're from Malaysia as well. No, Bank. I can't remember where you were. Singapore. Ahmed, remind me. I know the other brother said he's from Malaysia, but you're from. I can't remember where you're from. But anyway, I digress. Of course, I always like to have someone with me to speak about the news. Bangkok. There you go. See, I knew it. I remember. I don't usually. I don't. I try not to forget my good subscribers and followers. Um, of course, I like to speak with people. I don't like. I'm one of these guys. I don't like speaking in a screen on my own. I don't know why. People can do that. People say I can do it, or maybe I'm good at it, but I feel so uncomfortable about it. So uncomfortable. And I love speaking to people that I can speak football with. And I've got a special guest with me today, making his debut on my channel. But I've been watching him on a few other channels, and I really like the way he speaks. And I think we might be able to enjoy each other's company. Well, I hope he enjoys my company at the very, very least. Mo, you're very welcome to my channel for the first time. Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure, everyone in the comments, everyone watching us. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here with the mighty Grizz Khan with all his content and everything that he produces for the Liverpool community, Premier League community, and actually international football community now. Enjoying the content, my friend. And it's always great to have a discussion with someone who's knowledgeable, who is mature enough, and like just to talk football and have knowledge like yours. So thank you so much for having me, and I'm so excited to be here today with you.
It's an absolute honor. As I said, I saw you on Never a Foul. The guys from Never a Foul, of course. Shout out to guys from Never a Foul. And I'm one of those guys that as people will tell you in the chat, I just love talking football, and I love talking football with football people. If you know what I mean by that, because there's a lot of content out there these days. It's so easy to just switch on a screen, a laptop, sorry, I should say, get your face on the screen and just shout at the other person across the screen because he's thousands and thousands of miles away, and you can say what you want, how you want, when you want, just full of trash talk. I'm not about trash talk. There's a time and there's a place. And as soon as I saw you speak football, I thought I'm gonna ask and request the brother if he can make time for my channel. And I'm so happy that you're on. People are obviously gonna ask, who do you support? Me and you had a brief introduction in the background. I understand you are originally. Am I allowed to say where you're from originally? No, let you say.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Nothing
okay.
to hide.
We Mo is originally from the famous Mo that the mighty Reds represents, Egypt, but you're out in Texas actually. How is it? What is it like? How's the weather? What you doing in Texas? Is it enjoy? How's Premier League so? How are you so knowledgeable in Premier League whilst being an Egyptian living in Texas? Amazing,
So
amazing.
I'm an Egyptian, and I moved here because of work, and it is very, very hot here in Celsius. You can imagine it's 45 sometimes in summer in shade. So that's not great. But here we're not built like the UK. I know you guys like had a couple of hot days, and the houses and the apartments are not built with ACs, and that's a massive, massive problem. But here we live in a bubble, to be honest. Everything is AC, and you go everywhere with our car. As far as my knowledge about the Premier League, you can imagine that I played football since I was a kid. I played in Egypt professional teams when I was a kid until I was 21. I played third division. Then after moving here to America, playing football now. Is the highest amateur league where I have ex pros like Mohamed Kalom plays in the same league with us, and he has a team there. We have ex pros from the MLS play against us, and I'm coaching and I'm playing. But also the Premier League is, to be honest, the first thing that I watched about club football was
Mhm.
1994 Manchester United show in Saudi Arabia when I was a kid. They had this show about Alex Ferguson and the 92 team that came up and did all of this. And then it was all Premier League for me. But I support Inter Milan in Italy. I'm an Inter supporter, only support Inter. I do not support anybody in the Premier League. I just go for the underdog every year because I don't like dominance, because I like enjoyment and I like the football to be back and forth. And we want to see a new champion. That's what drew me to the Premier League. The era after Alex, at the end of Alex Ferguson, it was Chelsea, Arsenal winning, and then even Man United winning, everybody. And then Man City won. And then there is an era of 10 years where nobody in 8 years, nobody in the Premier League won the league twice in a row. I think since 2009, which is nine, it was I think Chelsea, United, then Chelsea, then United, and I think City after that for 2012. And it was that competitiveness about the Premier League where you watch any game, it was competitive. But because I'm on a Liverpool channel, I'm going to say it. Guardiola ruined it a little bit for us. But we have to talk about this. I admire the guy, and I'm sure we have a show with Grizz about Guardiola and Klopp and how he ruined football for everybody. But in my opinion, he is one of the best coaches that ever coached
No
football. But he
denying.
ruined it for the audience. But he ruined it
Absolutely.
for the audience. The problem is, you go to Man City games and you know what to expect. It's
But the
pass,
but
pass, pass, and
I
then
see people speak about sort of ruining the game. I look at it slightly different. I know where you're coming from, and I understand what you're saying. But even as a Liverpool fan, Mo, I absolutely admire the guy. The problem is not him. He's a genius in what he does. He's a
absolutely,
footballing coach, and this is a Liverpool fan saying it. So you will get many people disagreeing with me or saying, "Oh my God, why am I licking Pep's backside, etc., etc." But I'm a appreciator and a believer of the beautiful game, and he's a magnificent coach of elite players. The problem is when you add the billions that he has behind him and a state and an oil state behind him and a juggernaut to back the ideas and the philosophy he has already,
yeah,
it's pretty unstoppable. And this
I
is the problem. The problem isn't Pep Guardiola. We should applaud. No, we don't have to, but the real football people will applaud and love Pep Guardiola for the beautiful game. But when he's armed with the kind
yes,
of
yes. The amount
with
of
the
money
kind
they
of
spend,
with the
yeah,
kind of money and the power he has, it's it's pretty unbeatable. And this is why when people speak Liverpool down or don't give people Liverpool the respect that, in my humble opinion, we deserve and Jurgen Klopp deserves, this is what
yeah,
gets me. That's the only part that gets me angry because
yeah,
Jurgen Klopp, even trying to disrupt this domination, armed with nothing like the resources and the power. People forget, people think it's just about buying one player and one player. No, people, it's far, far, far deeper than that. But maybe that's another show for another day. We
yes.
can look into that, an interesting topic. But, Pep
The
Guardiola is
Premier
a
League, it's the Premier League. It's the best league to watch, in my opinion. And nobody can, even during the Messi Ronaldo era in La Liga, people were like, "Yeah, let's watch La Liga," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I would still rather watch Burnley play West Ham or something rather than Sociedad play Sevilla, for example." Which is just a preference. You know what I mean? It's just a
Of course
preference.
it is. Of course it is. It's the most exciting. It may not be always the most high quality. In fact, I believe it's become the most high quality as well now. But for many years, people spoke about it being the most exciting end to
Yeah.
end, more passion, more desire, maybe less technique. Uh, but I believe overall it's become the perfect league in all aspects now. One of the proofs of this is the amount of incomings this season in the Premier League. Mo, So many great players coming into the Premier League, so much money being spent by Premier League clubs. And I want to turn your attention to, I should have shared the screen. Hold on one second. I've got it. So we have a couple of deals to talk about today, but one done deal is Manor Solomon, Fulham to sign the Israeli midfielder after Shakhtar Donetsk contract suspension. Solomon moved to Shakhtar Donetsk in January 2019. Fulham say they have agreed a deal to sign. In fact, it's all official now. He's actually come out and announced himself to the club. I suspect, and if people know in the chat better, please educate me if Mo doesn't know or if I don't know. I suspect they needed a Fabio Carvalho replacement. They have Harry Wilson who plays off the right. They still have Mitrovic, I believe. They bought another attacker. Someone will correct me. But they needed someone to come and play off the left. Very similar physique to Fabio Carvalho. A different type of player according to the bits I've seen of him. But would you say a like for Fabio Carvalho if you know much about this guy?
Yeah, kind of faster, a little bit more direct, and it's kind of physique is kind of similar, but I think he's smaller a little bit, skinnier. But this guy is one of the explosive players that go take the ball and drive forward with the ball, very, very, very quick, can dribble with both feet. So I think he's gonna replace Carvalho good. And I think they're going to benefit from having someone like this to have two outlets, Wilson on the right and Manor on the someone on the left. I think it's something that I was looking for this player to go somewhere else and go into the Premier League. I think it's the best thing that can happen to a player in this day age and his career. So in my opinion, it's a great move for Fulham because I thought this guy would go to even a bigger club, a mid-table club, or somewhere else like a West Ham or even lower than Leicester or something like this. But for Fulham to snatch this deal is not bad at all. It's not bad because they needed someone to replace Carvalho, and now they have him. And it's announced. I think it's official, and he's already the player. I think they haven't like announced it yet in the club, but I think it's an official deal that happened, and he's a player that is exciting. When you see him on the field, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. If the people that watch, he's so quick. And can dribble both feet, inside and outside as well, and comes from the left inside. Very, very, very exciting player.
From the little I've seen of him, I agree with you in terms of the profile. Very short, very direct. I wouldn't say he's as technically skillful as Fabio Carvalho, even though Carvalho is a baby. But Carvalho is more
has the flair, right?
Has more flair. Whereas this guy is more direct. He reminds me of, I don't know if you're going to like this shout, but Liverpool fans in the chat will remember a certain Maxi Rodriguez that played for Liverpool. And the young Maxi Rodriguez was very similar. Of course, later on in his career, Maxi became more of a inverted winger stroke type playmaker from the wing. But in his young days, he was very quick. And the most important comparison I made with Max, the reason why Maxi Rodriguez, he's got a very good shot. He's got an absolutely fantastic shot. And I think there's a Bilal in the chat, Top Football Show. We've got a Fantasy Premier League show coming up, people, that I'm going to give you more information on later. But the reason why I mentioned this is I think he could be a snip, Mo, for any people that play Fantasy League. I think this guy will get a few goals from outside the box. As you said, he's got a very good shot. He likes to cut in from the left and take shots with his right foot. He goes for the curler on the far post, and he likes sometimes driving them to the near post. So, like you said, I think it's a very smart move from Fulham, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to benefit him. The guy can score, can assist. He's going to, like, as you said, exactly. You remember Lennon, Sean Wright Phillips, when they come from the wings, they're not skillful. They can't like do the step overs and stuff, but they just dribble with speed.
But effective.
Yeah. Very effective.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be about skill and drags and step overs and etc. If you have a basic concept of a touch, like most of these guys have, and you have pace, and then at the end of the pace you have a lethal shot like this guy seems, then it's a dangerous combination.
Yeah, good finishing product as well. Very, very good finishing product.
Yeah, and absolutely.
I think playing
Absolutely.
for Shakhtar makes a big difference because we saw Willian in the years. Like these guys come from the Shakhtar because they have the winning mentality, winning trophies mentality. So you know, and playing Champions League means that he played against Real Madrid, Inter. He already played against top teams, so he has this exposure, which is something that adds to the profile of the player.
It definitely helps. And that's why it's a very good signing, like you said. You would expect this guy to possibly go to a Serie A team, one of the top 8 teams in Syria, possibly one of the top 8 teams in Spain. You know, you can imagine Shakhtar is a conveyor belt of some amazing attackers in the last decade or so. You know, we could name so many from Shakhtar Donetsk that have gone on to play for bigger, massive clubs. So, and you're right, they're one of the most dominant teams as well in the league, and so therefore we'll have that mentality and used to be playing. Um, slowly we're flooding in, guys. There's over 150 of views. Hopefully we have a few likes on the board as well. People want to know about the Grizz Scouser, what I put in the title, and we're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about it all. Pick up yourselves, my friend. Everyone is in here. Another piece of news. Again, Fulham. They're doing their best, or they're trying their level best to keep in touch or keep in the Premier League. And now apparently they are very close to signing for Bernd Leno, the Arsenal goalkeeper. What's your thoughts on this one? I'm not a huge Bernd Leno fan. I think he's good, he's solid. But again, for Fulham, it makes sense, right?
He's very okay. Listen, how many times in the world or the history you combine international German goalkeeper for 8 million? I think that never happened, right? Like you can imagine anybody from these nations, Germany, the Netherlands, you buying an international goalkeeper, you're not gonna pay 8 million. You're gonna pay a top dollar there, but they were able to negotiate with Arsenal to lower their demands for the money, and I think it's not bad for them. And I think Leno has the experience. He was Arsenal's number one goalkeeper for 2 years. You cannot discount that. This is something big, right? We talk about Arsenal every day, but this is still Arsenal, right? Going to Fulham, I think, is something very good for him because probably he's going to go to Fulham and he's going to get called into the national team again in Germany and behind Neuer and Ter Stegen. And he wants to be that third goalkeeper. But to be the third goalkeeper, you need to get minutes under your skin, right? Like in the league. And this is a World Cup year. So that's why it makes sense for all parties. And Arsenal want to get rid of someone who's, I think, is causing a headache in that because he thinks Bernd Leno, when he came to Arsenal, he thought that he is the next level goalkeeper. But Ramsdale came, took the position, and I think it's his now. So it's a good move for Fulham because I know that even if you're not a big fan of Bernd Leno, maybe you're not a big fan for Bernd Leno for Liverpool, for Chelsea, for Arsenal, for Man United, but for Fulham, it makes a lot of sense because I think he is a step over most of the goalkeepers in the bottom half of the table, and I think for to go to Fulham and start, I think this adds to their squad instead of like it's not a downgrade, of course, it's definitely an upgrade. So I think it's a good move for them. It's a good move for every party involved in this deal.
It makes sense. You're right. It makes sense on all sides. Guys, remind me, or Mo, do you know who's the current Fulham goalkeeper?
I,
Someone remind me.
I find the name now, but
Is
I
it
can't.
Rico? I can't remember, or maybe I'm going back a few years, or I don't know. People will.
Yes,
My
Rico
chat,
was a
my
really
chat
good
is
guy.
immensely knowledge. Watch, we'll have the answer within a second, but normally they take a 3 seconds. Oh, I've got a Gazin, Gazinia. No, it's not Gazinia. Gazaniga. People, Fulham
Azaniga.
goalkeeper. Is it Gazaniga? Is it Gazaniga still? Okay, it is Gazaniga. Okay, Sam's usually on the button, so Gazaniga. Um, so yeah, look, Leno brings the experience. And listen, how many times have we seen when teams come up? One of the most crucial things that you need as a promoted team is experience, players, experience. You can't always rely on youngsters in every aspect, in all the aspects of the pitch. They will have Mitrovic up front, and if they bring in Leno at the back, you know, it's a start. It's a start. I know you don't think, because you said to me earlier, you don't think Fulham will stay up, but they're gonna give it the hardest shot. And I agree. At the moment, they're my favorites to go down as well, along with the other promoted teams. But but they're making a fist of it. And my namesake, the chairman of Fulham, Mr. Khan, is giving them every chance in terms of Silva. I mean, he's got a lot to prove. I think he's got I think a lot of questions have been raised about him. Marco Silva. He came with a very high reputation. Didn't do so well at Everton. I think this is the litmus test for him. See if he can keep Fulham, because this will be an amazing achievement if he managed to keep Fulham in the Premier League. Right, probably the biggest achievement of his career.
Yes, yes. I think his winning percentage is 58% winning at Fulham, which is not bad at all. He played 50 games. He won 29 of them. And I think the problem with Fulham is that their players are in between Championship and the Premier League. And it looks like, as you said, the president and the management are pushing enough to give them at least a chance to compete, to do something. And they will have that I think the enthusiasm or the passion not to go down again, because most of the players that went down actually are still with the club, especially the big players. So I think it's a challenge for them. And if the management can give them the tools and can give Marco Silva, who I rate, I think he's a very, very good bottom half of the table coach. If they give him the tool, I think they can at least give it a shot, fight a little bit to stay. And it looks like they're doing it. They're signing good players. They're not signing they're signing players from higher level clubs like Arsenal, Shakhtar Donetsk, and who knows who else is coming. There's still 2 weeks to go.
I rate him as well. I'm not gonna lie. I love the way he stuck to his principles even in the Championship, which is a very difficult league to get out of. It's a very difficult league to play football, especially the way he likes to play it, and the way he's managed to coach the likes of Harry Wilson, young Fabio Carvalho, and even Nico Williams, who spent a season-long loan with the Liverpool fullback. And then Mitrovic, of course, the absolute warhorse up front. I mean, to score, was it 40 plus goals he scored last season?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, that's still huge. It doesn't matter if it's the Championship or not. 40 goals is a hell of a lot of goals. And look, a lot of people's going to raise their eyebrows. Can he do it? Can he do it in the Premier League? Can he do it? Can Marco Silva adapt? Will he adapt his playing style in the Premier League? Because we know the Premier League is unforgiving, totally unforgiving. But it'll be interesting. There's one to keep an eye on. Obviously, people are in the title. I had Tsimikas mentioned in the title, so people are asking. Mo, West Ham Central, who is a West Ham account that I know, they have reported that West Ham have made an inquiry on trying to purchase on loan Tsimikas, our very own Greek scouser. So I've done my own bit of research in terms of finding out what's the situation with this, and I can safely say to the Liverpool fan base, it was rebuffed completely. We have no interest in letting Tsimikas go. But you can definitely understand why a club like West Ham would be interested in him, because A, he's a fantastic signing, and B, West Ham's current options aren't looking very strong either.
So, in my opinion, if Liverpool let Tsimikas go, I think it's a loss for them, because you have to get a cover for Robertson if you want to go on four fronts again, right? Like you have to have. And the guy proved that he's Liverpool level. He's not like just a guy that is coming to sit on the bench, like he is coming. He is going to fight for that position. I know that you guys, Liverpool fans, you love Robertson, but I think Tsimikas is not bad at all. I thought every time the guy played, he filled the shoes of Robertson really, really well. I didn't see the difference. He's so quick. His crossing is immense, and he can dribble as well. So I think it's very good. The problem, West Ham are looking for someone to play for Criswell on the left, because sometimes they go three in the back, and Masuaku and Criswell, both of them are not great at that wing back. And I think Tsimikas might fit that role of a wing back really well because of the speed. He is faster than Masuaku, and he's faster than Criswell. I think he's a level above both of them. They are going for Kostic from Germany, but I'm not sure if the deal is going through. This is why they're asking for a loan deal for Tsimikas. But from what I read, from what I understood, Tsimikas is very comfortable fighting for the position. He is not asking for more minutes because he wants to play for Liverpool and he believes that he can maybe get minutes from Robertson and Liverpool play enough games in the season for him to be satisfied. So I think he is going to be a very, very, very good backup for Robertson, if not even getting half the games from Robertson. So I don't think Jurgen Klopp is just going to let a top-notch left back like this to go on loan that easy. It's he is worth way more money than just giving him on a loan. He's not a youngster. The guy is so good to be let go on a loan, to be honest, and especially for a team like West Ham. It's not like you're not loaning him to a lower team. You're loaning him to someone who can take points and took points from Liverpool last year. And you're not going to do that. I know that the rule about loans and stuff, but that will make them strong. So I don't think he's going, in my opinion.
No, no, he's not going. But sorry, I must stress, they asked for a sale, and we said absolutely no chance. And then they inquired about a loan, and that was rebuffed as well. But you speak about Tsimikas and Robertson, and it's always good to get a neutral person's opinion on how you see the fullbacks at Liverpool. So obviously we're speaking about Tsimikas and then the comparison to Robertson. Now, one of the early shouts I made when we found Tsimikas, when we signed Tsimikas, and a lot of people raised their eyebrows. Mo, I don't know, you know, obviously you're not being a Liverpool fan, you probably didn't see the show or what the drama was about. But what I suggested, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Andy Robertson fan. Andy Robertson is probably, for me, top 3 fullbacks in Europe, left backs in Europe. You know, he's fantastic. He's a magnificent player that every team needs a Robertson in your team. What I suggested was Tsimikas, in my humble opinion, would be better going forward. And one of the reasons I gave was Tsimikas' dribbling ability, because Tsimikas, if you notice the way he attacks, he has the ability to dribble with both feet, whereas Robertson is far more direct. Robertson has a brilliant delivery as well. Robertson is, in my opinion, far better defensively. But going forward, Tsimikas has that advantage where he has the skill of dribbling, and that's a very rare skill for a fullback to have in the modern game. And it helps him. If you notice the way he can get out of certain situations using quick feet, I think this guy is as you said, he's ready to absolutely battle with Robertson for a starting spot. And I think they both know that, and it only bodes well. Would you agree with that sort of assessment?
Absolutely, because Tsimikas has the one-on-one dribbling ability that Robertson doesn't have, as you said. So this is something, and I think someone mentioned in the comments that his crossing is very good. I think both players are good, but if it was for me, it was gonna sound strange. Based on what I watched last season, I would ease Tsimikas to be the number one within half a season to a season, in my opinion. This is what I think. Ease him in because you have Van Dijk, and now you have Thiago, and you have Fabinho. You have the coverage on the left side of the field. You might need that flair going forward. I know that Robertson, it gets you that speed, that running behind the fullback of the other team. But Tsimikas, as you said, in tight spaces sometimes against low blocks teams, can dribble one-on-one and get across. Robertson wouldn't do that. Robertson have to go back and wait for the space to open to be able to do something. And I think, as I agree with you, that this flair is needed sometimes from the fullback position, and it is rare. And we don't know what is going to happen if this guy doesn't play. He might say, sell me, I want more minutes, if he doesn't get enough minutes. So it's a dangerous game that Jurgen Klopp is playing here, keeping both happy but one of them, because both of them I believe are superstars at the moment at Liverpool, because the Liverpool fans, from what I see, they love the guy, right? They love the kid, they cheer for him, and he's gonna know that, and I think that he's gonna demand minutes. So better Jurgen Klopp manages is good, and I think Tsimikas is very good at playing that left that can replace Robertson without everybody feeling it, adding something going forward as well.
No, I agree with you, but I think, and I know reports come out, and you hear reports and you hear the interviews from the players themselves, which is the best indicator, instead of rumors and hearsay. When you hear a player say himself how he's immersed into the culture of the club and the local community, and how he loves he calls himself the Greek Scouser. That says it all. After one season, he's calling himself the Greek Scouser, so that suggests that he's very happy. I don't think he's going anywhere in the foreseeable future. But I get your point that you make, and we were speaking about this on the RedFellas show on my channel last night, which is predominantly speaking about Liverpool in depth. We spoke about the Kelleher situation, who is one of the most outstanding number twos in the Premier League. He possibly wanting to move next season if he doesn't get enough game time. But this is part and parcel of being at a club like City or Liverpool or whatever, where you have to compete with great players. And if you're, for example, we played 63 games last season. Wow. Like if you play 25 out of those games, 25 to 30, you're more than happy. You should be more than happy, because that's probably the amount of games that you play at a normal club, if you know what I mean. A normal
Yeah,
club,
yeah.
like, yeah. So, these kind of things. And who's the best manager to handle these kind of situations? One of the best managers out there is Jurgen Klopp. People speak about sort of what his strength and his man management, in terms of making players believe they're part of his family, is one of his strengths. So I think that will keep him in good stead. People, there's close to 200. In fact, there's over 200 now interviewing here. Hope you all enjoying the stream so far. Hope you can like the button as a show of appreciation, if nothing else. I want to speak about Bobby Firmino. Bobby Firmino, Mo, has been catching the eye of Juve, mainly because. So first, I want to put it out there: Juventus haven't made any bid for Liverpool, even though this report says, according to Tuttosport. Again, I made a few inquiries. There's been no bid for Juve. There has been an inquiry from Juventus. Again, we have no intention to sell. Absolutely no intention to sell. I think, in my humble opinion, I think Bobby does end up at Juve, but next season on a free transfer. That's just my hunch. That's not information based or anything. Before people start clipping me up and say Grizz has said it, so it's done deal. No, that's just a hunch. What I do know is there was no official bid from Juve, just an inquiry. And we know Juve like this, Mo. Juve are the best at knowing every player's contract situation. And so
Yeah.
therefore they either wait for the last year, or they see if they can get a quick bargain before the last year. Just very quickly, your thoughts on Bobby Firmino first as a player, what you think of him. Bobby Firmino will be 8 years at Liverpool when his contract expires next season. At the moment, I haven't heard of a contract offer. So, what do you think about Bobby Firmino as a player, and your time watching him in Liverpool? And B, what would you do in terms of a contract if you was Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp?
So number one, Bobby Firmino is someone that imagine you're coming. He came 1 year before, I think, Jurgen Klopp came to the game. He came 215, and to come to with a new coach right after you come into the club, and then he became like one of the pillars in that team. I believe, in my opinion, Bobby Firmino is one of the best assisting number nines in modern era. There is no one better that I can remember that played an assisting role to two wingers in the modern era as Bobby Firmino. I haven't seen someone that skillful that will sacrifice all these goals and all this all the effort that he puts just to have Salah and Mane have being the two players that they are now, and being, we're talking about two players to that competing for best player in the world, and the number nine is sacrificing himself. So I love his work ethics, and I love the flair that he has, because something that you don't see a lot from strikers like this, that he produces the assist that makes you get off the seats and like, how did he come up with this, like, this is something that is very rare now on a number nine. You can see now, lately, the number nines that we see are Lukaku's, Lewandowski, Benzema's, people that put the ball at the back of the net. But this guy gives you something extra, can change a game. Like when he came against Inter, my club, in the Champions League, he changed the game because he dropped deep. We didn't know how to mark this guy because he's not a number nine. He is just a false nine that can be a number nine, and he scored from the corner. So he can do both aspects of the game. He is absolutely a phenomenal player, and I like Juve. They they have this thing about waiting for a player and offering him big money, offering his agent. But I think Liverpool can still get something out of this player at least for 2 years, because by the end of his contract, he's going to be 31. You might sign him for 33 since you're losing him for free anyway next year. So why not a small contract for 2 more years? You extended Henderson, you extended Milner, but Firmino was one of the pillars of this team. And losing Mane and Firmino at one season is not going to be great for the way that Jurgen Klopp likes to play. Maybe I know that Darwin Núñez is going to come and play, but still Firmino has a big role to play. Coming off the bench, I think he's a game changer in my opinion. This is why Juventus want him, even though they have Morata and they have Vlahovic. They still think that the missing piece is a false nine like Bobby Firmino that can play all the roles coming from the midfield top or playing the number 9.
I think with Dybala leaving them, I think they looked around and thought, who can replace Dybala in that position, in that role? Dybala is very, again, someone very similar. You wouldn't call him an out and out number 9, you know. And same with Bobby Firmino. And I agree with your assessment that he's, in recent times, it's underrated the job that he's done for Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool fans will tell you the opposite, but I don't think he gets the plaudits from opposition fans or neutral fans that he should deserve. Sometimes it's disheartening to see that, because you'd think people would appreciate the guy's intelligence. So if you look at him from a physical point of view, right, Mo, he's not the quickest. He's not the biggest. He's not the tallest. He's not the best in the year. He hasn't got an amazing shot. Yet the amount of chances he creates through sheer intelligence, game intelligence, it's a unique skill, man. People forget. And someone's put in the chat, and where is it gone? When it's gone? Someone mentioned Benzema. And you know, whilst all the time Ronaldo was at Real Madrid and Benzema wasn't heralded as the player he is now, but Benzema, the work Benzema done for the likes of Ronaldo to take all the glory, the intelligence of Benzema's movement, which is elite. People often turn a blind eye to that, Mo, I feel. And this is, again, one of those players that his movement, his touch, it's out of this world, man. And I hear what you're saying, that the hierarchy should look at him and give him another deal and extend the deal. I'm of the opinion, Mo, we've had this discussion as a Liverpool fan base for about a year and a half now, in terms of the front three aging together, their contract situations being very similar. What do we do? Mane, Bobby, and Salah. And I was always of the opinion, Mo, that we will renew one, we will sell one, and we will let one run down the contract. And I think it's looking that way, where we renewed Mohamed Salah, we let Mane go, and it looks like at this stage, I must stress, that we're going to let Bobby Firmino run down his contract. And I think it probably suits all parties. He will have given 8 years of magnificent service. And if the guy deserves one last payday and think he deserves a new challenge, like he may, we don't know yet, like he may, then I think no one can deny him that opportunity to try pastures new. Because when you've been 8 years at a club, Mo, especially the intensity and levels that he's been playing at, alongside Mane and Salah, you got to remember, this guy was here before Klopp. So I think it probably would suit all parties if he's allowed to if he so wants. If he's happy to extend like a James Milner 1 more year contract, I can tell you the wages will be reduced. All right. I don't know if Bobby will be accepting of that. But for now, especially with Mane going and a younger strike force in Fabio Carvalho and Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz, we cannot let the experience and the game intelligence and the know-how of Bobby Firmino to leave the club.
He is on a big contract as well. He makes 180.
He's on a big contract. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure that Juventus are offering him are going to offer him the same money, because you know how the financial status of the Italian club. They might offer him less. I think Liverpool can lower this guy's contract and offer him a 2 years, and it's a win-win situation for everybody, because He knows the club. He likes the club. Thank you, Gal. And he's just a good player, as you said, man. It's like he's very underrated, and I don't think what I know exactly why other clubs fans they don't rate him because he doesn't score a lot of goals. Even though if you look at his numbers, his goals and assists are actually more than point 0.5, I think, a game with Liverpool. He's more than point 0.5 goal or assist a game during his career at Liverpool, which is something is something that is underrated for someone who assisted like and created play for Salah and Mane all these years. So
Uh, Brendan Jefferson sent in a super chat. Says City fan here. Bobby and Mane were the two players I feared the most. Do you think they have felt disrespected with Salah getting the plaudits? Again, I've spoken on this many times on my channel. People will know, or on other platforms that I go on. But it's always good to hear again. This is one of the beauties of having people from a non-Liverpool point of view. What's your assessment of this super chat? What do you think of this? What do you make of this notion, idea, opinion?
for Mane, I think Mane wanted a new challenge. It was not about the money because I think Mane, if he would have asked Liverpool, I think they might have given him a little bit, not Salah's contract, but something a little bit like Van Dijk's contract or something like this. But I thought going to Bayern Munich, I thought he wanted a new challenge. And it's not only about the money, it's the shadow of Salah. Like everybody talks about Salah. When Salah's on his game, you watch every studio, Sky Sports, even here NBC in America, it's all about Salah, Salah. Most Salah went, most Salah did. You know what I mean? And I think even Mane, like winning the AFCON, he thought that this is the year that I can go to Bayern Munich, be star, go to the World Cup, and be on the top of the stage again. This is the chance. This is the last big chance for me. As for Firmino, I don't think the guy lived 6 years now with Salah and Mane, like playing behind the doors. You know what I mean? Like he is behind the curtains running the show. I don't think he's gonna do this now. He's gonna ask for more like attention now. I think this is something like it's not about the money at all, and I think it's about new challenge maybe for both players. But because they have done it all at Liverpool, like what else you can? You won the Premier League, you won the Champions League, you did everything. It's just Mo Salah wants to break a record at Liverpool, but Mane has no record to break. Firmino has no record to play, so they might have been wanting a new challenge. It's not about the money, I think so.
Mm, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I don't think it's the money. Disrespected, look, we will never know their internal feelings in terms of what they feel, how they feel about their fellow teammates getting more plaudits or more show of affection from whether it's fan or media. We can only speculate. Not many are body language experts to be able to judge it, on the pitch, off the pitch. But if I was to guess, Bobby Firmino is definitely not one of those guys that feels insecure, about not getting the plaudits. Bobby Firmino is one of those characters, happy-go-lucky guys that just enjoys the game, the football. As I said on my show the other week when I spoke about it, I said I can imagine him, doing kick-ups into the sunset when he retires, and you can see a video of Bobby Firmino just enjoying himself on the beach in Copacabana. This is what Bobby Firmino is about. He's not about feeling undervalued or underappreciated. And Sadio Mane again, absolutely felt the need to have a change, closer to his where he originally started his career. Fresh challenge, and by all means, why not? Again, another guy who was here for 6 years. That's a long time in the modern day era, modern day age and era, especially playing at the level he was playing, the intensity and everything. So, yeah, I don't think it's about sort of feeling undervalued or anything. But Mo, we must move on to something that's dragged on for weeks and weeks now. It seems. Jules Kounde finally seems like being resolved. The scenario, the situation. Chelsea, okay, okay. People know my opinion and views on Chelsea, and they say I'm a hater. And yes, I'm a hater when I'm bantering and having joke and a laugh and a giggle. That's what football tribalism is out, people. But Jules Kounde now is finally seems close to joining Barcelona. This is another huge slap. I'm sorry, in my opinion, this is another huge slap in Chelsea's face. What's your thoughts on this?
Chelsea have to look at themselves and ask why we're not attractive anymore. This is what I think they should look. How is Barcelona, without the money, can attract a player like Kounde to go to them? Maybe because he lives in Spain, but to be put on hold that long for a player that is, I don't think Julius Conde is a superstar in my opinion, Grizz. He's a good defender and everything, but he's not a superstar. But for him and Sevilla to put Chelsea on hold, all of this, where they are ready to make an offer, they are ready to agree personal terms with him, and it was reported they already did. And for him to wait on Barcelona all this time to sign with them, I think, as you said, it's something that they have to look at the mirror and ask the question why we're like this. We were very attractive club. Is it because of the change of ownership? Is it because of the sanctions? Why? What happened? Is it Thomas Tuchel now? Is he losing the floor now? Is he not as lucrative as a coach as last year? This is what they need to ask themselves. I'm not hating on Chelsea. I'm a neutral, but I think two slaps in one window for a big club like Chelsea, who were ready to offer big money, is kind of something that we need to stop and think about why this happened, to be honest, because it's every day without hearing he's close, agreed personal terms, he's ready to move to Chelsea, he is ready to move to London, but then at the end, it looks like Barcelona, that the team that leveraged their future and they owe their players money, they got him. They're gonna get him to sign for them. So it is something that Chelsea need to look at themselves, and now they need to look at the market. And there is, I know that you're gonna talk about Kimpembe and what does that mean? What's the difference between Kimpembe and Kounde? But I think this is something that they need to look at themselves and ask questions why we're not as lucrative as before. You're you're muted.
This is why I'm an amateur, and this is why I'm not on Sky Sports or BT Sports or BBC. This is why. These are the reasons why I'm not there, people in the level yet. But I was gonna say, you said slap twice. I think, who are you referring to when you said twice? So Kounde and
I can't remember. There was another negotiation that went
so
sideways.
I'm gonna remind you of some, and you tell me if I'm incorrect, and people in the chat tell me if I'm incorrect. If there's Chelsea people, please tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm incorrect. I believe Rafinha.
It's not.
I
Yeah,
think,
it's Rafinha, but I know that Rafinha, but Rafinha was a different. But in my opinion, the other thing is Nathan Ake. When they wanted Nathan Ake, it looked like Nathan Ake was like when Guardiola told him, "No, you're staying with us." He was like, "Okay, I'll stay," even though he knew he's gonna get minutes at Chelsea
but the
way
point,
more than City.
no, but the point is, look, and you're right. Chelsea have to, because I was on a show this morning for 90 minutes who I work for, and we were speaking about, and some of the panel was split that they think Chelsea have done great business. I was, and I'm underwhelmed by their business. I think it's a great, I think it's a great deal that they've done for Sterling, for the price and the profile of player they're getting. But I think overall their business hasn't been great. Throwing the money that they have at 31-year-old Koulibaly could turn out to be genius, but there's a chance that they've overspent on a player. They've given him a 5-year deal, I believe, a 4-year deal to a
37,
31-year-old.
37 when he finished the contract at the end.
I look, so far I wouldn't call their business great. I think Chelsea, and this is not being hating, I'm trying to be neutral as much as I can. I'm going to take my Chelsea hatred cap off. I'm going to turn it to the side a little bit. And I'm going to say, I think they are in, at the moment, Mo, as we speak, at the moment, because there is 4 weeks to go in the transfer window, I believe, or 6, something like that, 4 to 6 weeks. So things can change. But at the moment, the atmosphere around the club, the coach, the way he's talking about players, the way players are refusing, because someone sent me a list, guys, of the people. There you go. There you go. These are just some of the names. Rafinha, Lewandowski, Dembele, Kounde, Delit. All of these players, they have been in for openly because they've got a new chairman who is trying to do things differently with a bit of razzmatazz and hands-on, because
He appointed himself as a sporting director.
I was just going to say, A, he hasn't appointed a sporting director, so he's himself. And B, he's trying to make a splash in the market, which is fine, which is fair, which is no problem. But he obviously doesn't know the tricks of the trade, and he's getting burnt. And he's making Chelsea look very amateurish in the market. Very amateurish. I know they got Raheem Sterling, but Raheem Sterling, they offered him crazy wages, and he's guaranteed to be playing, which suits Raheem Sterling. He wants to come back to London. Fair enough. That's a good deal. I'm not going to deny them that, even though I think he's not the answer to their problems. He's a fantastic player in his own right. Koulibaly is a fantastic player, one of the best defenders of the last decade, in my opinion, but should have moved to a bigger club, a better club years ago to test himself. I think he could be finding himself. I don't know. Let's see. The jury's out for me on Koulibaly in this Chelsea team alongside a 37-year-old Silva. Not the jury out on Koulibaly as a player. I must stress the difference. People always get confused.
I love
Koulibaly as a player is a wonderful player. Yeah. But in this league, in the intensity that he's going to be thrown into, and Chelsea, the pressure they're going to have to be playing a high line, because you got to remember, Chelsea's weakness is creating and scoring chances. And one of the reasons I believe is they play too deep. I think they're going to be asked to play a higher line. Koulibaly and Silva in a high line, the jury's out. That's all I'm saying. But Mo, I don't think they're in a healthy state right now, Chelsea.
You know what? On Never a Foul, in the week before, I said that in my prediction that they're going to finish fourth. After watching them again, even with Koulibaly, I think they can fall out of the top four based on the form that Arsenal are doing, because I think they are still lacking someone up top to create change. I know that Sterling is a direct player, very, very good, but they need a forward. And all the Chelsea fans will tell you that Kai Havertz can do the job. No, he can't. Timo Werner can do the job. No, he can't. It's as simple as that. You need a forward that will get you at least 15 plus goals. You don't need a forward that will get you 5 plus goals or 10. You need someone from 15 to 25 goals to be able to compete. This is my opinion. And Raheem Sterling is not a striker. I'm not sure why everybody's talking about Sterling, that he's going to get them the goals. He played in Pep's system. That's why he scored all these goals. He is a winger. He is not a forward. You need a striker. As for Thiago Silva, as you said, if they try to play 4 in the back with Thiago Silva at 37 in the Premier League trying to compete, I doubt that that's going to work. I doubt that that's going to work.
This is my point.
I don't think it's going to work. They need to understand that Thiago Silva, when Thomas Tuchel got him from Paris Saint-Germain, he got him to tighten up the defense, and they played 3 right away, because 3 in the back will tighten the defense. They have Chalobah, unexperienced. You need a right center back. It cannot be Azpilicueta, and it cannot be Chalobah. You need a starting right center back, which was supposed to be Kounde, right? But you don't have Kounde. Now you're going to go for Kimpembe, who has a mistake in him in every single game we watch. Every single game I watch this guy, he has a mistake in him. And it doesn't matter if it's against Bordeaux or it's against Manchester United. It doesn't matter.
But look what you just said. Look what you just said there. Kimpembe, right? He plays for the most dominant team in the French league, right? Which is, by all accounts, not the strongest league. They have the ball in every game, like a Man City, apart from when they play Liverpool and Chelsea, maybe, right? They dominate every team from start to end. And we've seen so many lapses of concentration in this Kimpembe in such a poor league. And they think that he's going to replicate those levels of concentration in the most demanding of concentration leagues in the world. Like Khanage was asked, what's the difference between the Bundesliga and the Premier League you found? He said, He said, the concentration levels here, you have to be all the time switched on. He goes, Bundesliga, he kind of said it. He goes, sometimes you can switch off. He laughed about it. He goes, here, you're playing the 19th place team or the second place team or the first place team. The concentration levels be so. I think Kimpembe is one of those players that thinks he's achieved something when he hasn't done nothing in the game yet. So I hope they sign Kimpembe. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I hope they do. And I think it's an indicator of because now they've got a good manager, PSG, who doesn't take shit, who doesn't care about names. You'd like to think he knows what he wants from his players. And I think he'll be a massive indicator if he lets Kimpembe go, what he really thinks of Kimpembe. The other target they're talking about, I don't know. They're talking about Oh, my mind's gone blank now. Who's the other Chelsea alternative? Well, let us know if there is another Chelsea alternative. Kimpembe people are not talking about sort of as the answer. But there's a super chat that is relevant because you are an Inter fan, and this is amazing. As Drago, who's a regular in my channel, appreciate the support. He says, Grizz, can you talk about Inter transfers this summer with Lukaku back and what's Skriniar's situation? I could possibly, but someone is more in the rights in more educated to speak on this, and that's Mo. Mo, the floor is yours.
It is simple. Inter, we don't have money. We needed to make money as Inter club, and they
No has
had already.
Barcelona. It doesn't stop them. No has Barcelona. Do something.
They we had an agreement with Dybala. We had an agreement with Bremer, who was one of the top center backs, the Brazilian center
Oh,
back in at Torino last year in Serie A. But these two deals fell through because we didn't have the money to sign them. Now you talk about Lukaku back. Lukaku is a force, right? And if you want my opinion, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on the Liverpool channel, I said that everywhere I went. Thomas Tuchel didn't know how to use Lukaku. It's as simple as that. He didn't know how to utilize this force to play for him. And in my opinion, it's on him as much as on Lukaku. Lukaku back to Inter, I promise you, he guarantees us 10 plus goals, maybe 10 plus assists at least next season. So it's a good deal for Inter because he knows how to play that system at Serie A. Isolation, turning a defender, running straight at the back line. This is what he can do. So it was something that is very, very good for Inter fans. Everybody wanted Lukaku back, and we got him back. We sold him for 105 million pounds, and we got him back for 8 million pounds.
beautiful, beautiful,
Right?
beautiful.
We just made money. As for Skriniar, I think Skriniar is one of the top 5 center backs in the world. Right? He is up there with Van Dijk, Diaz. He's up there with them, and I rate Konate as well. I think he's a very, very good defender with Rudiger. And we asked for 70 million for someone who has 1 year left at his contract, and PSG didn't want to pay that money. It looks like it might change in the coming days. If Chelsea bid 60 million for Kimpembe, PSG will offer the 70 million euro plus to Inter to get Skriniar. It's kind of a domino effect, to be honest. So if that Kimpembe deal goes through, I think we might see Skriniar, even though the management are calming the fans down and telling them he's not for sale, he's not for sale. Nobody is not for sale in Serie A. If you bring them the real money, like Nicolo Barella, I think they would sell him. If you bring the right offer on the table, because these people that they run Inter, the Chinese Suning group, they want money and they're taking the club as a business. It's as simple as that. But for me, at the moment, Skriniar is staying at the club. Is staying at the club unless something dramatic happens.
Um, Top Football Show says surprised that no one is moving hard for Barella. I can tell you from a Liverpool point of view, we very much considered moving for Barella. Barella was one of the names on our list, alongside obviously everyone knows Jude Bellingham. I don't want to give too much away, but we didn't go for Barella because we have some positivity on the Jude situation. But I can tell you, Barella was very much on the Liverpool menu, and why not? Barella is a wonderful player, wonderful player. He'd be on the list of many a team, many a team. But so you guys into strapped for cash, right? So you're saying that there is a situation where somebody can come in for one of your players, and there is a very, very high chance of them being sold, whether it's a Dumfries or a Skriniar or a Lotoro is safe now, right? Lotoro has signed a new contract. He's pretty much safe now.
Listen, they say that Barella and Lautaro are not for sale, but from
Mhm.
people inside Italy, and they are saying that everybody is for sale for the right
As a
price.
price.
But that price might be like Lautaro. They're this probably from what I'm hearing, Barella they're asking for about 90 to 100 million euros, and they would sell him because that's a very, very big money for a midfielder. And I think Lautaro is 120 or something like this. But I don't think anybody is gonna sign this. Is gonna do this. Is gonna come up with that amount of money now.
Fair enough. We have an update to close on. We've discussed quite a few of these. We've spoken about Inter. and Dombele wanted in Turkey is not much to speak about. Milinkovic-Savic, uh, Arsenal rumours. I don't know what the verdict that the Guardian is referring to. Standard, sorry, I should say Standard, Evening Standard is referring to. That's an interesting one. Milinkovic-Savic, so up and down in recent years. Probably one of the most sought after central midfielders a couple of seasons ago, then had a little dip. Had a reasonably good season, so that's why he's on the agenda for a few clubs. Where do you stand with Milinkovic-Savic? Needs to move.
He needs to move. He's one of the best midfielders in Serie A. He has the physique to play in the Premier League. He has the talent. He has the intelligence to play in the Premier League. And I think if he comes to the Premier League, and it's just my opinion, if he plays for one of the top clubs, he'll be one of the best midfielders in the league, in my opinion. He's deadly in set pieces, and he gets in the box really easy for him because he knows where to be and he scores a lot of goals. And he also can drive with the ball. And plus the physique, if you watch the play, he's so big as a midfielder.
He's when you see the likes of, look, and I'm going to say it openly, I'm not a fan of Souček. When you see the praise that Souček gets for West Ham, my God, if Milinkovic-Savic came to the Premier League, you'd see what a really a big, tall central midfielder can do as a player. There's one question that I wanted to speak about because we've spoken about Tsimikas. West Ham thought they placed a sufficient bid for Broja from Chelsea, but it looks like, well, it's most certainly now that deal's fallen through. Instead, in my opinion, they've bought the better player. I think he's the better player, even though I think Broja was more suited to West Ham, if that makes sense, if you know what I mean. The way West Ham play, I think Broja was more of a Antonio type player, whereas this guy's a wonderful player. I think he's a better footballer. Do you think he's going to be a success at West Ham? What do you think about this player?
I believe so. The way West Ham play, they rely a lot on crossing, right? Imagine bringing a 1 meter 95 centimeter big forward that can run with the ball as well, can shoot. He scored 16 goals in Serie A. So imagine that you bring that to West Ham, and we know Antonio is an injury prone, and we know that Antonio is going to be out for half the season at least. So this guy will get a chance. He is 23 years old only. I know that Broja is only 20, and already Broja played for in the Premier League. But I think Tsimikas is a great deal of business, especially if they get him for a price of that. What we're talking about, £30 million, is not a lot for this forward. He is sought to be one of the best forwards in the Serie A last year. So PSG offered 50 million euros or something like this, and they said, Sassuolo said no, but something like, it looks like the deal didn't go through. If West Ham can land this guy for 36 million plus some bonuses and a 10-year future sale percentage for Sassuolo, it's a great deal for them, and I think he suits the way that they want to play. And I think that he's going to be, in my opinion, he's going to be a success. We don't see a lot of success from Italian players, but I think this guy might be special.
This guy could be obviously he's a different type of player, but the last mad Italian West Ham had was a certain Paolo Di Canio, who had a tattoo and was mad and crazy talented. This guy could be the next mad Italian at West Ham. I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on. It should be exciting times at West Ham. We're going to finish up on the situation with Ronaldo. Fabrizio reports on the back of David Ornstein reporting that Cristiano Ronaldo is back in the country to have talks with his manager, his new manager, coach Erik ten Hag. Very briefly, because we're running out of time, what do you make of this situation? And
Bizarre.
if you are Ten Hag, how do you deal with this situation?
This is bizarre for a player not to come late after they played already 3 friendlies. For a player that publicly said he wants to play Champions League and for them, they have a new coach. It looks like he has everything going for them. The wheel is in motion again. Manchester United is my opinion, and for him to come in publicly and say, "I want to play Champions League," I'm not sure how they can deal with him. Maybe they run the contract next year, and he gets what he gets because he's in a massive money. 500 a week is a lot of money, and he wants to play Champions League. And if they can find a deal like Griezmann swap or a Joao Felix swap with Atletico Madrid, because it looks like Simeone is convinced that Ronaldo is the striker that he needs, maybe that would work for them. But because I think Ronaldo is going to go to Ten Hag and say, you know what, I want to play Champions League. Let me go for a 2 year contract somewhere else. But I don't think he is gonna make Manchester United are not gonna make any money. They're gonna break mutually the contract because he's on a lot of money. And who's gonna pay for Ronaldo now to sign him for that much money? Like, who's gonna pay a fee for a player that is 37 now, going 38, to give him a 2 year contract? I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think is absolutely embarrassing the situation. It's just embarrassing. There's no other way of
Yeah,
describing it. Your star talisman hasn't even trained with the new coach and his teammates, and it's less than 2 weeks before the start of the Premier League season.
yeah,
That's all. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Unless, again, always a disclaimer, unless the reason why he's been away is family issues related. Unless I have my doubts, but unless it's that, it's embarrassing. If it's that, obviously we wish him the best and well, and we pray that everything is fine. But otherwise, the way his agent has been going around clubs trying to see if anybody wants him and been offered to Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, just to name three. I'm sure PSG have been in the picture as well. And I said it very early, Mo. No serious club in this modern day and age, no serious club would take Ronaldo right now. And I think it's been proven. Um, but look, long may it continue over the road at Man United. Long may the despair and the circus like actions continue, where we are laughing, ha ha ha, at you. You laughed at us for many years, so it's only fair we laugh back at you and make joy of it, guys. These times don't last. You know, Man United will come back just like Liverpool came back, just like Chelsea will come back. But while we can laugh at them, laugh at them. This is what football tribalism all is about. But obviously, there's limits and there's boundaries that you don't cross. But football tribalism, banter, joking, it's all part and parcel of being a football fan. Mo, it's been wonderful chatting to you, my friend. Thank you very much for your time.
I really appreciate the invite, and I really appreciate every single one in the comments, the people that gave us support in the comments, and people that watched us live. This has been great episode with you, Grizz, and it's a great roundup of the news that happened today and yesterday. So it's a pleasure, and hopefully we can do it again. And thank you so much for inviting me, my friend.
Alex says, Chris, tell your story in the Chelsea away end. I will, 100%. I've been in the Chelsea away end, by the way, twice. Ha ha ha. Didn't tell you that part. Yeah, Mo, it's been wonderful. We will keep in touch. Hopefully, I will invite Mo back, people, and hopefully Mo accepts my invitation and we can speak many times during the season. We have a European show starting on my channel very, very soon, which will be like the Big Six version, if people are familiar with the Big Six, but it will be the champions, the top six teams, roughly the top six teams of Europe version. That should be fun and interesting. And I'll definitely ask Mo to be part of that. It'll be a pleasure to have him on as well. The rest of you guys, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been an amazing little chat. This has been the Daily Roundup show on Grizz Khan TV. Hope you like, subscribe. Take care.